Welcome back, deep divers. Ready for another fascinating journey?
Always.
Awesome. Today we're diving into the story of Saul.
The first king of Israel.
Yep, that's the one, found in 1 Samuel 10. It's full of twists and turns, and I think you'll be surprised by what we uncover.
Oh, I'm intrigued already.
So picture this. The Israelites are clamoring for a king, like all the other nations.
Yeah, they wanted to be in with the times.
Right. And God, in his wisdom, chooses Saul. But it's not a glamorous coronation, no, sir. It's this quiet, almost secret moment.
The anointing.
Exactly. Samuel the prophet anoints Saul with oil. It's a powerful symbol, setting Saul apart for this huge role.
It's like a divine stamp of approval, God saying you're the one.
But here's the thing. Saul isn't exactly thrilled about this whole king business. He's hesitant, uncertain.
That's understandable. Leading a nation is no small feat.
Totally. So, to reassure him, Samuel gives Saul 3 signs, things to look out for, to confirm God's plan.
Let me guess. Something dramatic. A burning bush, maybe?
Nope. More like everyday occurrences. He tells Saul he'll find his lost donkeys.
Lost donkeys. That's a sign.
Yeah, sounds a bit random, right? But there's more. He'll receive gifts of bread from travelers and encounter a group of prophets.
Okay, still not seeing the grand scheme here.
Well, I think that's the point. God meets Saul where he is, speaking through the ordinary details of his life.
Interesting. So finding those donkeys wasn't just about getting his livestock back.
Right. It's about recognizing God's hand in the everyday, the seemingly mundane.
I like that. Finding the extraordinary in the ordinary.
Now, hold on to your hats, because here comes the real twist. Saul encounters these prophets, and guess what?
He joins them for a prayer meeting?
Not quite. He gets caught up in this ecstatic spiritual experience and starts prophesying right alongside them.
Whoa, wait a minute. This is the same Saul who is practically hiding from Samuel.
The one and only. And that transformation, that shift from hesitant shepherd to spirit-filled prophet, it shows us the power of God's calling.
To reshape us, to draw out potential we never knew we had.
Powerful stuff, right? But how does this idea of transformation apply to us today? I mean, most of us aren't going to suddenly start prophesying.
True. But haven't you ever felt a nudge towards something? A sense of being called to a particular path, even if it seems scary or impossible.
Oh, absolutely. Those moments where you feel drawn to something outside your comfort zone.
And that's where Saul's story becomes so relevant. He shows us that God can work through our doubts, our fears, that he can equip us for tasks that seem way beyond us.
So it's not necessarily about a dramatic, overnight change like Saul's.
It's about being open to God's shaping, his preparation, even when we don't understand it.
That's encouraging. Because, let's face it, we don't always have it all figured out.
No, we don't, but God does. And that's a comforting thought, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. So we've got this chosen king, a powerful anointing, and these seemingly random signs. But Saul's journey is just getting started. There's so much more to uncover, and we'll be back after a quick live. Okay, so we've got Saul, this newly anointed king, experiencing this incredible transformation, right? Going from reluctant leader to spirit-filled prophet.
Yeah, a pretty dramatic shift.
Totally.
Yeah.
But then he kind of goes radio silent about the whole thing. Doesn't shout it from the rooftops.
That's interesting. Why do you think he kept it quiet?
That's what I'm wondering. I mean, would you be bursting to tell everyone, hey, guess what? I'm the chosen one.
Well, maybe. But think about it. This silence, it speaks volumes about Saul's character, doesn't it? It reveals a humility that's, well, pretty rare, especially these days.
You're right. It's all about self-promotion now. Everyone's got to be in the spotlight.
Exactly. So Saul's reluctance to grab the microphone, it really challenges us to think about what true leadership looks like.
So it's not about being the loudest voice or seeking all the recognition.
It's about serving others, leading with quiet confidence, letting your actions speak louder than your words. Kind of makes you wonder, right?
What do you mean?
Well, if sometimes the most effective leaders are the ones working behind the scenes, their influence is felt, but not necessarily seen.
That's a thought-provoking idea. And this whole thing is even more interesting when you remember that the Israelites had rejected God as their direct ruler.
Oh, yeah, they were adamant about having a human king.
It's like they were saying, nah, we don't want you, God. We want a king like all the cool nations.
And yet, God still works through their decision. It's a powerful reminder of his sovereignty, isn't it?
Absolutely. Even when we stray from his perfect plan, he doesn't abandon us.
He weaves his purposes into our lives, even when things seem messy or out of place. It's pretty amazing when you think about it.
It's definitely encouraging. It
Yeah.
means we don't have to have it all figured out for God to use us. But how do we apply that to our lives today? It's not like we're all being called to be kings.
That's true. But we all face those decisions where we're unsure of God's will, those forks in the road where we don't know which way to go.
Oh, tell me about it. Sometimes it feels like every option comes with its own set of challenges and uncertainties.
Hmm.
It's like, which way do I go, God?
And that's where seeking those signs can be so helpful. And I'm not talking about literal donkeys and prophets here.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Because my donkey finding skills are pretty rusty.
Right. I'm talking about those moments of clarity, those nudges that seem to confirm you're moving in the right direction. It could be a conversation, a sudden opportunity, or even just a deep sense of peace amidst the chaos.
So it's about paying attention, being sensitive to those confirmations, those moments when things just click.
Exactly. And they might not always be dramatic or easily recognizable. Sometimes it takes reflection, looking back and seeing how God's hand was at work all along.
So it's like connecting the dots.
Yeah, like that. Seeing how those seemingly random events actually led you to where you are now is pretty awesome.
It really is. Kind of like Saul's experience with the prophets.
Yeah.
That was a radical shift for him, something he couldn't have orchestrated on his own.
Absolutely. And that's often how God works, isn't it? He uses experiences, both big and small, to transform us.
To grow us from the inside out.
Precisely. So maybe we won't all become prophets overnight, but we can be open to how God might be using our everyday experiences to shape us, to refine our character and prepare us for what he has in store.
That's a great perspective. So those times when we feel hidden or overlooked, those could be crucial periods of growth.
They often are, like those behind-the-scenes moments before a big performance.
But those hidden seasons, those can be tough, can't they? It's easy to get discouraged, to wonder if you're on the right track.
Oh, for sure. And that's where trusting in God's timing becomes so vital, knowing that he's working even when we can't see it.
It's like he's the ultimate director, and
Right.
we're just playing our parts, trusting that he'll bring it all together in the end.
That's a beautiful way to put it. And speaking of bringing things together, Saul's story takes another dramatic turn. He goes from hiding among the baggage to being publicly proclaimed king.
Talk about a plot twist. What can we learn from that transition, that moment in the spotlight?
I know, it's almost like ironic, right? Saul's trying to stay hidden, blend in, and bam, suddenly he's front and center, chosen by Lot, no less.
Yeah, talk about a spotlight moment.
It really makes you wonder what was going through his head, Like, phew, relief, or maybe sheer terror.
Yeah, or maybe just this, like surrender, realizing there's no escaping what God has planned.
It's a powerful image, isn't it? And that whole chosen by Lot thing, it's kind of wild.
Almost like a divine lottery,
Yeah.
as you think about those moments in our own lives.
Right. Are we just in the right place at the right time? Or is there something more at play? Some kind of, I don't know, providence.
It's a question people have been grappling with forever, haven't they? Chance versus destiny, free will, and all that deep stuff. But I think Saul's story, it highlights something important, even if we don't have all the answers.
What's that?
That God can be working, orchestrating things, even when it seems random or out of control.
So it's not about us trying to control every little outcome, but more about trust.
Exactly. Trusting that he has a plan, even if we don't see the full picture. Especially when things get tough.
Oh, yeah, because life throws those curveballs, doesn't it? And remember, Saul's story, it's not all sunshine and roses.
Oh, right. It doesn't have that fairy tale ending.
He makes some bad choices along the way, lets pride get in the way, and ultimately loses the kingship.
It's a good reminder that even those who start strong can stumble.
Absolutely. But it also shows us that even in those moments, God doesn't abandon us.
So there's hope for redemption, even when we mess up.
Without a doubt. I mean, Saul's story, with all its tragedy, it ultimately points back to God's grace and mercy.
That's encouraging.
It is. It tells us that he can use it all. Our experiences, our mistakes, even our failures. He can use them to shape us, to draw us closer.
Wow, that's a powerful message. Especially in a world that can feel so judgmental,
Hmm.
so quick to condemn.
Totally. It's like this permission slip to embrace our humanity, our weaknesses, and to trust that his love, it's unwavering, no matter what.
Man, this deep dive's been a journey. We started with this seemingly simple story, a reluctant king.
And we've uncovered all these profound truths.
Mhm.
Leadership, humility, trusting God's call.
And finding grace in our imperfections. It's amazing how much wisdom is packed into these ancient stories, isn't it?
It really is. They speak to us across the centuries, make us examine our own lives, our choices, our relationship with God.
I think the biggest takeaway from Saul's story is this. Even in our doubts, our fears, even our failures, God can still use us. It's a message of hope for everyone, no matter where they are on their journey.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And to all our listeners out there, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the story of Saul.
We hope you found it as insightful and thought-provoking as we have. And remember, the conversation doesn't end here. Keep exploring, keep questioning, keep seeking that wisdom that helps you live a more purposeful life.
Until next time, fellow deep divers.
Keep diving.